here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation, Sunday matinee edition of the post-game show. CP on the check-in, Ashley Moss, Jay Ellis of the Nick of Time show. All right, well, look, let's start with the good things. You know, Knicks kicked off this matinee affair with the Clippers. Came out hot. Our two dogs came out. They set the tone. Whether it was RJ, whether it was Julius Randle, came out and really made their mark on this game. And we'll get to them later. Knicks even came in, you know, as the Clippers started to pick up steam and wake up a little bit. Immanuel Quickley's brilliance in the second quarter kept us in it. But in the third and early into the fourth, man, it was just too much Clippers firepower that the Knicks could just not compete with. The number one stat going into this game was that the Clippers were the number one three-point shooting team in the league in terms of three-point makes and percentages. They averaged 14 made threes on 41% shooting. Tonight, they made 17 on 43% shooting. And it wasn't just their heavy hitters. It wasn't just Kawhi and Paul George. You had Serge chipping in with a couple threes. Patrick Patterson, Reggie Jackson. And again, Quickley's brilliance in the second and fourth kept us in the game. And the Knicks fought. The Knicks fought for 40 out of 48 minutes. But in the end, it was just too much firepower from the Clippers. Knicks go down 129 to 115. JLs, what were your thoughts on this game, man?
Listen, this is one of those losses where I'm not super upset about it. I call it like it's like a good loss. Like this team CP, they're championship contending team. They coming in hot. They have legitimate all-stars, and we went toe to toe.
Superstars.
Yeah, superstars, all-stars. And also, like the way their team is built, they're built like a modern NBA team. They have power forwards and centers that stretch the floor, that stretch you out, that allows you to take advantage of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George strengths, you know, getting in that mid-range, kicking it out. So it was hard for us to keep up with the defense for all four quarters, having to guard inside and outside all game, which is why they shot the way they did. But it's just the poise of RJ Barrett, to me, was what I was really proud of. It was like watching Ali Frazier to me. It was like one punch. Went
toe-to-toe with the claw, baby. Went toe-to-toe with the claw,
toe-to-toe with Leonard, man. Toe-to-toe with Leonard. And he didn't give up. Even when the fourth quarter was things started to go awry, he still fought. And even though the Knicks lost this game, you just saw that there's something here. There's something to build a foundation on, whether it's RJ, whether it's IQ, whether it's Randall, there's just something to hang your hat on with this team. So even though we lost, I don't feel really bad about it.
Still positive. Ash, how you feeling today?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, JLS. I do believe that there are things called good losses and bad losses. I think anytime you can go toe-to-toe for a majority of the game with a championship caliber of a team like the Clippers, it's a good loss. I know that's an oxymoron because a loss in itself is not anything that's good, but we showed fight and we showed that we can kind of hang with teams that are rated a lot higher above us. And also, I think, you know, we abandoned a little bit of our game throughout this entire game. Obviously, it wasn't a defensive performance from either team. But the thing is, and we were talking about this off camera, is when you are going against a team that has shooters, you can't get into a shootout. Yeah. Because when they catch fire, especially late in that fourth quarter or midway through that fourth quarter, you just can't compete. And you abandon your defense. And what that does, it prevents you from getting stops. And those stops help your offense, especially when your offense is struggling a little bit to hang in there. So, yeah, we did things that were beneficial to the game, to us, rather than keeping us in it through most of the game. But as we know, basketball is a four-quarter game. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And it's a game of runs. And it's a game of shots. And our shots weren't falling when necessary, and we just couldn't hang tough when we had to. But I think we showed a lot of promise in a lot of other areas of this game today.
Yeah, I agree. And they fought. You know, like I said, they fought for 40 out of 48 minutes. Like I said, this Clippers team is the number one three-point shooting offense. Knicks defense, number one defending the three. The thing about the Knicks defense is they're going to give you open looks. And, you know, part of that, JLS, was, the rotations needed to sharpen up a little bit. But if you got to double down on Kawhi Leonard. You got to double down on Paul George. Give credit to the Clippers. They moved the ball well around the perimeter, found the open guy, and the guys that you wanted to beat you. Whether it was Patrick Patterson, who was 3 for 3 from downtown, Reggie Jackson, who was 3 for 6 from downtown. He hit 2 big threes in the second half on us. Or Serge Ibaka, 3 for 4 from downtown. So Patterson 13, Ibaka 15, Reggie Jackson 18. I mean, their supporting cast had their name all over this game. You had Mook coming off the bench with 11 points. You know, the Knicks just couldn't match that type of firepower. But as I said, on the positive note, love Julius's start. You know, loved his energy. He never quit in this game. 27 points, 12 boards, 5 dimes. And you know what? And when Ashley said we couldn't compete from threes, who do we need those threes from? We needed it from Julius, who chipped in with 4 for 5 from downtown, our best 3-point shooter on the night, JL. So Julius came with it. And RJ Barrett, another efficient night. 9 of 14 from the field, 5 or 6 from the stripe. The snake dribble into the foul line mid-range, the step back fadeaways at the end of the shot clock. RJ was patient. He was in his mid-range bag. And then on the other end, he had to check the claw, man. I thought RJ stepped his game up, and this was a good lesson learned for him. This is a very good lesson learned for RJ today.
This is my I told you so smile. This is my I told you so smile, because everybody wanted to count RJ out. And I just want to go ahead and put this out here. I'm accepting cash apologies for the RJ Barrett Hater Club. My Cash App is on my Twitter. So if you want to go ahead, only Cash App apologies. I don't want to hear, your sorries in the chat. Send me money. Anyway, here's the thing. RJ has consistently started to play in his bag, and meaning that is that he is going to continue, and he has been continuing rather, to play in his game. He's not doing things that are outside of his game. Yeah. He's not playing under his game. He is playing in his bread and butter. And when he does that, he's unstoppable. When he does that, you realize why he is going to be the face or one of the faces of this franchise. And that's what we've been wanting from him. We didn't want him to take these crazy 30-footers, try to do a long game. Obviously, we would like a little bit more of a mid-range game from him, as he's working his way up, rather, his trajectory. But still, right now, when he does those floaters, when he drives into the lane, when he plays his defensive game, he is unstoppable. And that's what I've been wanting from him. Just play in your bag, RJ. Stay in your bag until you develop more tricks. It's easy as that.
And that's what he's doing. And JL says there's one sequence in the first quarter that I loved. It was they had RJ on a mismatch with Zubac, and he was kind of buried in the corner. And I keep mixing up Fizz and Tibbs. Both Tibbs and Randle had to move out to the elbow, which is where he can, get a better angle to the basket, drives on Zubac and hits the sweeping hook on him. And that was a lovely move, man. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, nah, for real. Like, oh, man. I was talking with Terry the other day, like the spacing and the chemistry between RJ and Randle is just coming along, man. Like, these guys are willingly passing the ball to each other, recognizing who has a mismatch and just giving it up. And you saw them try to adjust that spacing on the fly today, and it worked out. And he was able to take advantage of it. And RJ is just being a smart player offensively in general. He's not barreling into the rim anymore. He's driving to spots now.
He's finding the opportunities.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to drive into the crowd. I'm going to run to this point of the floor where it's empty, pull up for my shot. He's been doing that more consistently to the point where I feel like the Clippers adjusted their defense towards like the second quarter, because he was starting in a little mid-range game. So, man, I'm really loving the maturation of RJ. I even heard Clyde Frazier kind of mention the all-star word for RJ. He's like, I feel like he said he thinks next year he might be the all-star. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
next year.
And listen,
something to work on.
We forget RJ's only 20 years old. I mean, the sky's the limit for him. And great point, JLS. He is starting to play smarter. I think, sometimes, especially with his first season with fans being in, the Garden, it puts that pressure on you. New York's not an easy place to play. It's not an easy place to play badly in also. So it kind of puts that pressure on you to make you feel like you have to do more than you're necessarily maybe ready to do. And I think that this season, with fans not being in the Garden, has been almost a blessing for RJ, because he's really been able to figure out his game and execute that without the existing pressure of the energy of the fans in the Garden. And I think when fans do come back, they're going to see a whole new RJ. And I'm excited to see him continue down this path. And put 9God in the chat for my dog.
Throw a
Y'all been
hashtag
trying to clown him,
9God,
and I'm not having it. Hashtag 9God.
Let's go. Last 10
giving
games.
up on these players because of 1 week of bad play.
That
even goes for Kevin Knox. Who I have jokes for too, but still, can't give up for one.
And we'll get to that. Last 10 games for RJ, 19 points a game, 5.9 boards, 81% from the free throw line, 47% overall. So RJ's definitely in his bag. Now, people in the chat want to know, what about IQ? You skipped IQ. No, we didn't skip IQ, man. IQ needs his own segment. Because like I said, this second quarter, as the Clippers started to pick things up, you gotta remember now, with the Clippers, with George and Kawhi Leonard, there's never a point in the game where both of them are off the floor. So they're able to balance their lineups very well. So you had, in the second quarter, you had Lou Williams out there, you had Mook, and you had Paul George, who played half of the second quarter. So the Knicks were very, very fortunate to stay in that game, and most of it was because of IQ starting in that second quarter. He gave us 10 points in that second quarter. Burks chipped in with another 7. That was pivotal for the Knicks in that second quarter. And then in the fourth, I mean, IQ's brilliance brought this thing down to 2 points. It was a 2-point game. That's why I said they played 40 out of 48 minutes, because he shoots a 3. They call it downtown. My man shot the 3 from Dykeman. He was so far back. Closes the gap to a 2-point game, and we're right there, right in it, man. But this is where I felt like the game turned, because after he hits that 3, the Clippers get a dunk from Zubac. It's 107-103. Rivers wasn't good tonight. Rivers was not good tonight. He continues to miss Obi on the leakouts. Doesn't really pass as much as you want him to. But Rivers has a turnover after that. Then he fouls Paul George. Paul George hits a 2. They're up 109-103. Then Quickley's guarded by Kawhi Leonard. He takes a bad 3 there. It was a bad 3. Misses a 3. Mook claps back with another 3. It's 112-103 with 6 minutes left. At this point, I'm kind of questioning, like, where's RJ? Where's Mitch?
Yeah.
Because Tibbs calls a timeout and goes right back with the same lineup.
And if I could just be petty for 1 second, Austin Rivers should be banging it on Paul George every time he sees him, okay? And he knows why. All right?
That's probably why he wasn't passing it.
Man, got in his head.
The fact that he was so, subdued this game was annoying me. You should be banging it, dropping 30 points on this boy's head every time you see him, okay? And I'm just going to leave it there. If you know, you know, okay? If you know, you know.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, man. So at that point, it's 112-103. Tibbs comes back with the same lineup, and then Kawhi Leonard hits another shot. It's 114-103, and I think that was the game, and that was definitely the game. But listen, all in all, it was a valiant effort, man. It was a valiant effort. Definitely can't complain with the outcome, Jails.
Yeah. IQ needs more reps with the starters. I'm gonna just say.
Well, yeah, he does. He's still the minutes were still tipped in his favor, and I don't think Peyton was all that terrible today. To be honest with you, I don't think Peyton was terrible at all, man.
I'm not saying he was terrible at all. I actually felt like Peyton played well today. I felt like he was more willing to pass the ball. That was a huge part that I was complaining about for this whole 2021 game stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And he found Mitch in the beginning for a nice easy dunk. He shot the ball when I felt like he should have shot it. So I wasn't really upset with Peyton today. But I'm just saying we just need Quickley to get reps.
We need his offense, man. We need his offense.
Yeah, we need him to get reps with Randle and RJ because when it was time for the game to close, I just felt like even though he provided the spacing, the chemistry wasn't there yet, and it was kind of second guessing on when to go and when not to go.
Yeah, just get that experience.
Yeah, so I just think they just need more reps together.
I got you. I definitely got you there. So, Knicks lose 129-115